Thank you, Mr. Chair, very much. Dr. Hutchins, we'll start with you. Some of these questions are very similar, I think, that all of us were curious about, and I'm going to jump back to relocating, of course, and go Cyclones. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But Dr. Hutchins, Secretary Perdue has started the process of the relocation, as many of us have talked about, of the Economic Research Service and the National Institute of Food and Agriculture outside of Washington, D.C. And I'm really excited about this because I do have an act, it's called the Swamp Act, which would move all of our headquarters of federal agencies outside of the immediate Washington, D.C. area. So while it doesn't go quite as far, I am excited about the opportunities. And I do think that moving these ag agencies outside of the Beltway is a good step in the right direction, and an example of what I hope other federal agencies might be able to do at some point. So I know that you have talked about maintaining the quality of research that would be coming out of these agencies. We have talked just briefly about land grant institutions. Can you maybe talk a little bit about where we might be able to partner not only with private industry, but also with some of our land grant institutions in perhaps doing research? Would that be an opportunity that we would have?
Thank you for the question. I think that opportunity is really part and parcel of what the mission of the research education economics is at its heart. What the land grant system was designed to do was to really focus on those key problems. The Agricultural Research Service is a world-class organization with a tremendous history to focus on agricultural issues of national importance. And so I'm not aware of any country in the world, and I've traveled to many, that have that same kind of capability. So my goal would be to utilize that expertise of the ARS to work on those national issues and to partner and leverage that expertise with the land grants to work on the ones that are more local or regional, and to really strengthen in doing that in both of those, to make sure that we, focus the resources that are best developed for ARS versus NIFA types of funding where they are. I think being close and proximal to agriculture is a valued trait. I think anything at the end of the day could be managed, and it has been managed well at NIFA here, but we really need to focus, in my mind, the effectiveness and efficiency in order for the long-term investment we can make and to be able to link that to the land grant institutions.
Very good. I appreciate that very much. We're very proud of Iowa State and their ties to agriculture. So thank you very much for that. And Mrs. Earp, thank you so much. It's very nice to have all of you here. So thank you. But Mrs. Earp, again, going back to the forestry and the Forest Service, this is an issue, and I don't know that we can talk about it enough, but the sexual misconduct and mismanagement, all of those allegations that continue to come out by the U.S. Forest Service chief, it's disturbing. If you are confirmed, then how can we increase transparency and reporting and investigations of misconduct with these types of allegations within the USDA? How can we do that so that a situation like this doesn't happen again?
Thank you, Senator. The Forest Service and its history is long and complicated. I look forward, though, if confirmed, working with the new forest chief, who is a woman. I think that might give us some additional leverage in addressing the problem. I would like very much to have a sense of urgency and to work in an oversight capacity with the Forest Service to identify the culture. There are lessons to be learned. Tailhook from the military. Some years ago, air traffic control towers were an issue for women because it had been predominantly a male area. I think that today we can identify some of the risk factors for sexual assault and sexual harassment. I am committed to try everything possible and to do it with as much deliberate speed as the government allows.
Well, I appreciate that very much. It seems to be an issue that pops its ugly head up in many of our different departments, and we just really have to own this and figure out a way to combat it and then defeat it. So I appreciate the time that you have given us today. Thank you all very much, and thank you for your continued service. Thank you, Mr. Chair.